Welcome back to Einstein Media Center, your one-stop shop for all unnecessary media dissection. Today we are joined by a very special guest as always. Please give a big welcome to Megan from the band, Megan from Work. Megan, how are you?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Would you be able to give us a little bit of background about who you are and, the type of music you play and what has brought you up to this point in 2025?
Sure. So I have been playing guitar for it feels insane to say, but like 20 years now, and I just loved music and wanted a way to be able to sing along to my favorite bands. Like Death Cab for Cutie specifically. I was like, I want to play guitar so I can sing Death Cab songs. um, and I kind of went all over the place into the theater world, the acting world, the comedy world. But music was always super important, the soundtrack of your life and everything. And back in 2018, I started my first band, which was called Bad Sandy. And then this project has been in this iteration for 2-3 years now. The kind of music that I play is uh, anthemic rock music with like emotional heart, but just I always say that it's great like driving music because that's my favorite kind of music is windows down, super loud, where people in your life are like, can you not hear that your car is making a crazy sound? And you're like, no, no idea. I'm rocking.
We'll get into some of the new music you have out in a bit, but I have been rocking out to Back on the Saddle with the windows down now that it's nice and hot out these days.
Yes, as intended.
So you started your first band back in 2018. Given how important music has been for you for your whole life and the fact that you've been playing for so long, I guess what took you so long to do it? It almost seems like it would have happened sooner.
It does seem like that, doesn't it? I think that I just really went down the comedy path. Like when I turned 18, I got really into the improv and comedy scene in Austin, Texas. And I incorporated some musical comedy stuff, and that kind of became my shtick. But at a certain point, I just really burnt out on doing comedy. And you can only write so many songs about dating that are like self-deprecating and dating sucks and all that. Um, so yeah, back in 2018, it really felt like New Year's Day 2018. I was like, I want to write songs. And yeah, I don't know why growing up that wasn't something that I did very much. I think I was just really shy and insecure, and I played covers in my bedroom all day, every day, any free time that I had. But I think it took a while for me to kind of find my voice and the things that I wanted to be talking about.
So musical comedy is a very interesting part of the comedy world. I know I also love stand-up and improv. So I know like some people have like certain feelings about musical comedy.
Yes.
Is that what kind of like burnt you out? It just kind of it's a tough lane to carve out for yourself, I imagine.
Yeah, I don't think it was that necessarily because I wasn't cringe for the time. Like looking back, it's probably cringe, but like at the time I was like doing a pretty good job. um, but I was doing it out in LA at that point, and I think that there were just I was on stand-up and comedy shows where people felt so much more passionate about it and like they had so much more to say, and I almost felt like I was taking up a spot. um because yeah, I had just fallen a little bit out of love with it.
Understandable, but that's really cool. I imagine, being up on stage, I know you mentioned theater, but between comedy, theater, I'm sure there might have been a night or two where you perchance bombed, but
Oh yeah, the biggest bomb was election night 2016.
Oh
The
no.
I was in LA. I played. Have you seen 500 Days of Summer?
Yeah.
You know the scene where they do karaoke, like that bar. I played at that bar, and the person that put it on was like, "Oh, it'll be a great time." No, no one expected it to go the way that it did, and I'm like up there playing my goofy songs while people are just like head on the bar watching results pour in, and I'm also experiencing this, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get through this one, guys. We're all gonna get through my set together. I think even the best of us would have face planted on that one.
So how has, those experiences played into your live shows? I'm sure, you had mentioned maybe younger, you were self-conscious at a point in your life. I'm sure after experiences like that, like you're raring to go to get on stage and put your best foot forward at this point.
Yeah, I say to my coworkers at my day job that like that's the place that I feel like I make the most sense. I love being on stage. I love it feels like hosting. Like that's the part of stand up that I always really liked. I love hosting shows and being off the cuff with people and improvising, reading the room, and like getting that like instant gratification of like I'm just talking to y'all on the spot and we're like having a great time here. Um, so yeah, I always think of it as like I'm hosting the show, and it's a lot of fun. It's people ask if I miss comedy, and I'm like, no, like I wait tables where I do jokes all night and put on little private shows for my tables, and then I do music where I can talk in between songs if I want. I
Yeah.
still get to like do the thing. It just isn't the only thing I'm trying to do.
Well, that's nice. You really do get the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, you
That's
can have it
awesome.
all.
So, to talk a little bit more about the type of music that inspires you. So, you mentioned Death Camp for Cutie, obviously a big part of your life growing up. What are some of the other bands or artists you've taken inspiration from, or really just kind of meant a lot to you to bring you up on your musical journey?
The number one is The Killers and Brandon Flowers' solo work. I just, as a songwriter, think that he's really got it all figured out. And their music has always really spoken to me. They're like, the non-singles are so anthemic and are so driving, and they have so many songs where it's like, how can I possibly give up while I'm listening to this song? And I take a lot of inspiration from them. A lot of the like in the back burner of our song synth tracks are definitely inspired by parts of Killer songs, driving guitars, chugging drums, just everything. I couldn't do without them. And then in my teenage years, it was all emo music. I was like a MySpace kid, and Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance are impossible to shake out of my DNA. And then as an adult, I got turned on to, I always just call it like the Philly scene of 2015, which is too generic and too broad, but that's just how I categorize it. And it's like Hop Along and Modern Baseball and like Jeff Rosenstock, and I know he's New York, but yeah, just everyone in that scene, like Jeff Rosenstock specifically, I was like, his music is so poppy and melodic, but still so punk. And that really got me to be like, oh, like I could probably write a real song, not a joke song.
So, just I need to tell you, just from hearing that, it makes sense why I like your music because, like, I'm also originally from New York, so Taking Back Sunday, Jeff Rosenstock, two artists I love very much, and
The East Coast, something in the water up here makes you write really good music.
Yeah, and it's so funny when I was one of the first videos I actually did on this channel was about sports by modern baseball. Just sorry, tangent.
Cool. Mhm.
But it is funny, like that 2015 Philly scene. When you said that, I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, good. I never know if that's a reference for other people, but I'm like, I just feel like in Cayetana, like there were just all of these bands at this moment in time that I'm like, oh, I wish that I lived there then.
I think that's really awesome, especially again, wanted to just talk briefly about Jeff Rosenstock's Hell Mode. I could, now that you say that, I totally see a lot of parallels with exactly what you said. Very punk and very still melodic. And I feel like that is something your music has a ton of, is focusing on melody, something that's like important to you. I guess so. Saying it's all
Yes. Definitely. All of the songs start as vocal melodies. I am not the kind of person that can pick up a guitar and just like do a cool chord progression. I'm not that kind of player. I am the kind of person that's like driving and an idea pops into my head and I turn down whatever I'm listening to and, try to safely make a voice memo, or like in the shower or cleaning my room. It's always something that pops into my head. And then I get to the guitar and I'm like, please, like, please continue to come out of me. What
So,
chords like work with the melody that I'm trying to get out there?
from what I've read in other interviews you've done, you really write the majority of these songs, and then I believe you bring the ideas to your band and have them write their own parts. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So how does that work when you give them a song? I imagine it must be difficult sometimes to trust that they're going to help bring your vision to life.
Not at all. These boys totally understand what I'm going for. um, and there's been so many times where we will like parallel think the same part. It's just like, oh, that's just what simply goes there. And yeah, I would say like one of the top 3 personality traits that I have is being a fan of the Killers, and so everybody knows. It's like that's the reference. Alex coming in with a disco beat off of Hot Fuss makes a lot of sense. I'm like, oh wow, I love that. I can't explain why. Um, and yeah, my lead guitarist Luis, he also has an affinity for Sam's Town and for the Strokes, and so anything arpeggiated and like his tone is always that perfect. I call it like a very American sound, that like crunch that you get like even without pedals. That you're just like, this is a like my SG and this is my Marshall amp, and that's the crunch that you're gonna get. So yeah, so I never really worry. I always send them like the acoustic track that comes out of me first, a demo that is like electric guitar, which is pretty much just me like, here's where I would palm mute and here's where it would be loud, and these are my 2 modes. And then the chord sheet. And from there we go to practice and they're like, oh, I think I'm hearing this. And I'm like, sick. That's great. That's correct.
So how did you get together with this band? Is this like still the first iteration of the members that you've brought together?
It's not. This is the second one. But I've known all these guys since I came out here in 2018, 2019, all just different parts of the scene. Alex used to book shows at the spot in Agunquit, and he definitely was kind of how you say, he like was the glue that like brought people together. So I played with Luis while he was in a different band, and Joey, our bassist, while he was in a different band. And so we've all just been around for years together, and they were around for the first iteration of this band. And yeah, that band fell apart, and I had a show that I needed to play and that I had booked 2 months after that, and it just totally fell into place. Like I asked Joey because he was he's in a band that I was living in the house of, and so he was around. I was like, Joey, can you help me out? And then that same week, I saw Luis at a show, and we had talked about our similar influences and like what a great fit that he would be if we ever got to play music together. And he was like, dude, like my time is freed up if you need me for anything. And I'm like, do you want to play a show in 2 months? And then Alex is just quintessential drummer. He's in like 3 bands and can never be busy enough. And he reached out to me like days later, and I thought that maybe Luis had like told him, but like he was just like, yo, you need a drummer, out of the blue. And our first practice together, it was really like, we were all just like, whoa. Like, this makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and just like sonically how everybody likes to play and how everybody likes to sound on their instrument, it just like is a perfect fit. And then when we were playing, when we got asked to play Boston Calling, I knew that I wanted to come off of the guitar and get to just do the front person thing. And Quentin is in the band Grub Lord, which highly recommend checking out. They are so cool and very like theatrical, my chem femme punk. And yeah, Quentin also knows all the references. And Strokes and Killers are the big main ones for the indie rock. And I asked him to play my parts, and he's just been on all of our live shows ever since.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the writing and recording of your album from last year? I assume that was with the current band now.
It actually, it 90% is after the first iteration kind of fell through. I was like, I have all these songs. I'd been working on some of them since 2020. And I was like, I need to just get these down, get them into the world. I don't really know what's going to happen with the band. But it was, oh gosh, it was actually around this time 2 years ago that I reached out to Steve Alaperda at Kennedy Studios. And he's like an incredible drummer, but he's also an engineer. And I was like, who better to hire as a studio musician than someone who like, he plays the instrument and he can record the instrument, and who better to make it sound good than someone who knows how drums should sound. So I recorded all of my demos to a click, and basically those acted as the scratch tracks for him to play over. And this was around the time that Joey and Luis and Alex all came into the mix. So the drums were done, but it was like, and do you guys want to do the record? So unfortunately, Alex isn't on them, but he is on Life into a Movie and Back on the Saddle, which I think are so much more indicative of our live sound. And yeah, it came together very DIY after that. My partner has a home studio, and he helped Joey record all the bass parts. Then we worked with Ben LeBeau, who is in the music scene as well and has a home studio, and he tracked guitars. And then there's this really cool recording studio in Boston where you can rent the room and like have your own engineer, and you can just rent that for the day. So that's where we did vocals.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So very much just like, the band wasn't making any money playing shows or doing anything yet, so it was all self-funded, and we had to get the homie hookups.
Well, that's really great. It's nice that you have such a great supportive music scene up where you are.
Yeah, big time.
So when I was listening to the album, I was trying to dive into some of the lyrical themes, and my notes here say, unless I'm an idiot and misinterpreted, I felt like there were a lot of themes of being unsure of yourself and also watching yourself change as you grow. Can you speak a little bit about where those themes came from and what made you track that all down?
Yeah, definitely. I am always in a mini identity crisis. I don't know what it is. I mean, astrologically, I know what it is, but we don't have to go into that. I'm just always kind of self-reflecting and wondering what my deal is and how I can project that into the world in the way that I just yearn to be understood, but have to understand myself first in order to get there. And a lot of these songs came from around this time when, 2020. So we were in lockdown, and you're kind of forced. You don't have your day to day anymore to fall back on, and your routines to distract you from that inner work. And I was learning about myself. I was figuring out um, that I'm queer and that I haven't explored that, and I don't really know what that means. And then I kind of started to dissect gender as a role in my life and how performative I felt that I was being, and that I was kind of forcing myself into all these boxes. And I felt that other people, because of how I was presenting, were forcing me into the boxes as well. They're like, yes, that's a good box for you to be in. And I was kind of just rebelling against that. And so a lot of these songs are about breaking habitual patterns and trying to be more honest about your internal world and how you want that reflected in the world. And I did eventually figure out that I'm gender fluid, and that I was performing hyper femininity in such a way, and I think that has a lot to do with like my background from Texas and just a lot of, we don't have to get into all that, but yeah, just unpacking a lot of that. And yeah, like I literally looked like Sabrina Carpenter 5 years ago. It's like, that's not sustainable. That's not maybe the most genuine version of this person who, yeah, I Girl Suit actually came from a line that I was bopping around in my head of like, I'm a space worm in a girl suit. Like I I just have this suit on, and I'm just some weird little alien in here.
It's funny you say all of that, because as you were explaining that, you reminded me the line of "I'd rather be honest than consistent," and I just think it's funny, like you're consistently saying that.
Yeah, like I have to do that all the time. And in the relationship that I was in, it was really challenging because that person had a very strong sense of self, and for me to be like, I don't know what my deal is all of the time, was like, well, when you said that thing, were you lying? And it's like, no, I just feel differently now. And I'm sorry, I understand that why that would be frustrating. But yeah, I just think that it's a lot more fluid out there than it gets portrayed as. A lot of things are like black and white and are hard definitions. And I've been closing out a lot of our shows, because Girl Suit is always the last song that we play, with just like, allow yourself to change, allow the people around you to change. Because I think a lot of where people get stuck is that it's like, well, what if the people around me don't accept me for who I am? If I'm a different way than I've been showing them forever.
Yeah, I think that's a really great message. Change is always going to be scary, and it's always a good reminder to tell people like, hey, there's going to be people changing around you, and you should still love and support them. I think that's really nice.
Because you've seen their heart. But maybe their heart wants to wear a dress, and that would be fine. Maybe their heart wants a crazy haircut. Would that be so bad?
So we have a lot of these themes on your last album, and now you have a few songs that have come out this year. Are you gearing up for another release, an EP, an album?
Yeah. We're gearing up right now for another single. My loose game plan, we're not signed or anything, has been to like build a small catalog of our sound, especially like how we actually sound as a band, like with this group, with Alex as our drummer, and with we've been playing together for 2 years now, so the sound as a unit has developed and has become more refined. I think in a dream world, I'm like putting out these singles and they pop off, and a label is like, let's sweep you away and take you to the UK for a tour. But like the worst thing that happens is like I just get to put out the songs that I'm writing and can share a little aspect of myself with the world, and that's not so bad either. So we're putting out another single around Halloween time, and then I think we're just going to focus on like the album, whatever that looks like, and maybe try to shop that, see if anyone wants to put it on a vinyl or anything. We do have a log of like 10 to 12 songs right now that we haven't gotten to all play as a band, but that I've made demos of and have been working on a little bit. And I would love to have like 15, 16 songs that were like, okay, and these are the best 10. But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna keep writing the songs, getting them recorded in due time.
Nice. That's great. So that actually begs a question for me. When you're in this writing process, let's say you have those 15 or 16 songs, how do you know which, whatever it is, 4, 5, or 6 to leave on the cutting room floor?
I think after we flesh them all out and listen back to demos, we'll all just kind of know. Because everyone seems to know when a song is a bop. And I definitely trust the guys and their taste levels. And yeah, I think that it'll probably be as simple as like, I can't stop listening to this one. And then that goes on the list. And whichever ones kind of don't get that response are the ones that either will get worked on some more, or that was just a moment in time and I wrote my diary entry and we can move on. Like there were a couple of songs on Girl Suit that didn't make it that I did record with Steve on drums, and they just didn't feel exactly quite right. And Luis wants to resurrect them and have us work on them, but I think I might be ready to move on. I don't know if I'm saying the same thing as I was on Girl Suit.
It's funny to look at that snapshot of, you released these songs only last year, but to what you were saying, they've been written for so long. It's like, I'm not even close to who that person was.
Yeah, exactly. Like the music has been out for 9 months, but a couple of those songs are like 5 years old. And that's a very long time. That's a very different guy. That guy doesn't even have I just got 2 beautiful kittens with my partner a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
she was wandering around. Yeah, but that person doesn't even have Cowboy and Cherry Cream Soda in their lives. So what do they know?
Sorry, your kittens are Cowboy and Cherry Cream Soda?
And Cherry Cream Soda. Yeah.
Are amazing names.
Well, they're amazing cats.
What I also have 2 cats. What colors, what do they look like?
They are brother and sister, like from the same litter, Siberian cats. So they're like puffy, fluffy guys. Cherry Cream Soda is the most beautiful girl in the world. I hope this all makes it. None of this gets cut.
I'm keeping it all.
She's so incredible because half of her face is orange tabby, and then the other half is like classic brown tabby, and then the opposite leg is orange with a white sock, and like opposite, and then opposite brown with a little white sock. And she's so symmetrical. She's like Harley Quinn. And then Cowboy is orange, but he's not insane. He's actually really gentle. He's so sensitive.
You might have to send me a picture after this.
Yeah, I can do that. Here's a spoiler. Wait, they're best friends.
Nice. Sorry, I gotta.
What are your cats?
Yeah, I could show you mine. I have
Also lock screen. Oh my gosh. They're best friends too. Back to the music.
Back to the music. You've mentioned throughout our conversation, like a few different places you've lived and scenes you've taken a part in. I guess what brought you up to the Northeast, and what has been your experience getting involved in that local music scene?
Yeah. So my friend George Barber is from the Cape originally, and his wife is from New Hampshire, and they went to college together. Um, and they lived in Los Angeles for a bit, and he did comedy there. And while I was living there, my friend Monica Scott introduced us. At that time, they had already moved back to New Hampshire. So just a brief meeting, and I was in a really bad headspace, so I don't know how we befriended each other at all, because I think I was just very sad, and maybe he picked up on that. But he was just there for a short visit, and then just life works so in such a weird way. That was like December of 2017. And then in April of 2018, like I said, it was like New Year's Day that I started to work on Real Songs. And April 2018, I had like a pretty good collection of songs built up, maybe 7. And I was visiting Austin for a movie premiere. George was meeting Monica in Austin to go on the start of a tour. Why we were all there at the same time, it shouldn't have been that way. But we're hanging out, and I'm telling him, I'm not doing comedy anymore. I'm doing Real Songs, and I want to record them and start a band and do the thing. And he was like, I don't want you to go back to LA and for someone to charge you $1 million just for it to not be what it should be. Come to New Hampshire. My friend has a home studio. I will produce it. He will engineer it, and we'll make a good record for you. And so that was April. We recorded that record. I went out to New Hampshire in September of 2018, stayed there for a week, and that was the first Bad Sandy record. Was that self-titled, or did that have a name? Gosh. Who could ever be sure? We recorded for a week together. Andrew Johnson is who recorded it, and he played the drums. George played the bass, and we both played some electric guitar on it. Andrew played some synth stuff. And I go back to California, and George and I are, talking. We're best friends now. And he's like, I'm supposed to go on this tour next month, but it kind of fell through. Would you want to come with me? And I was working from home at the time, and so I asked my job. I was like, yo, it would be like 3 weeks in New Hampshire. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, as long as you can clock in when you need to. Don't worry about it. And so we went on that little tour. It was just him and I, and we did it as Bad Sandy. Just 2 guitars. It was very cute. It was very silly. Like not what the music sounded like, because it's just us. Sorry, this is so long-winded, but it's true. And we go back. It was like 2 weeks, or maybe just like a week and a half on the road, and like a week and a half in New Hampshire. And while I was there, I was like, we should just do this. Like, we should just be the band. And it happened that he and his wife Kate had an extra room in their apartment. And I go back to LA, and I have to tell my roommate and all my friends that I'm gonna go to New Hampshire. I'm gonna do the thing. And I moved in December of 2018, and we did it. We did the band thing. We were together for like 2 years, and we did some cool stuff. And the scene here is really welcoming. There are more bands now than ever here. Like so many people that I know are in 2-3 bands. It's very collaborative. There's like a great punk scene. There's a great folk scene. There's like some really great venues, especially in the seacoast of New Hampshire, that I love to play and have great relationships with now. And I think after COVID, in like end of 2021, people were like really ready to get back after it. And yeah, so the scene has been like bustling and people are very excited to like play shows and meet people and work on things together. So the scene has been amazing. And yeah, they've come together for music videos. And I was in another band, Hell Beach, which is here. You should check them out as well. And we did like a music video where everyone flooded into a basement to like sing a song 300 times. And so yeah, people are just down and really supportive.
That's really awesome. I love to hear that. It's I guess like New Hampshire, it's not like it's Columbus, Ohio, where it's known for like a big music scene, or Philadelphia or New York. That's really great that you have such a strong scene there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely had no concept of New Hampshire before visiting. Like, I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. And even when I moved here, I was like, okay, like, I'll get my footing. I'll live here for a year and then I'll live in Boston, where like it's really happening. Boston is an hour away. Boston's right there, and we play it all the time. And we're friends with people in that scene. And it's also welcoming and not hard to get to know and to break into. So yeah, it'll be 7 years in December for me.
Wow, that's wild. That's a long time.
It's the longest I've ever lived anywhere. Like even as a child or anything, we moved around a lot. So yeah, I definitely have roots now.
That's awesome. That's really nice. So we've talked about Boston. We got to talk about the Boston Calling performance. How did that come together? And could you just talk about how that was performing there for the first time?
Yeah, definitely. Someone just reached out to us and said that they pitched us to the people that book the local acts on the Boston Calling stage. They said we might be hearing from them in a week or so. We might not hear from them, but just letting you know, I put you out there. And this person like really enjoyed Girl Suit the single and like works for a place that like did some nice write-ups of it and stuff. And so I was just like, oh, that's so cool. they I don't think they'd seen us play. It's just they liked it enough to want to give us a shot. And I tell the band and I'm like, guys, like, don't get your hopes up or anything. It's just an honor to be nominated, of course. And I obviously that night I like couldn't sleep and I'm like feverishly checking my emails, and then I look in my spam folder and they had sent us an official offer that day, like the day before.
Wow.
Like the day that I was pitched. Oh, Cowboy has a sushi in his mouth and that's awesome. He has a sushi toy. Sorry. Playing it was incredible. The experience was amazing. The hospitality at Boston Calling, I'll like never forget. They like were so cool. I think the guys were like, oh yeah, we're the local band, so we'll be treated like the local band. But like, no, we got to go to the artist tent. We were fed and they had an espresso bar and just like, it was so cool and so special. And since we had artist passes, we got to go all 3 days. So I think that we really lucked out being on Friday, the first day of it, because we got to like get our nerves out and play the show and then just get to experience the festival. But yeah, the set was 40 minutes long, which is hard for us because we play the songs really fast and they're all already under 3 minutes. So we did a cover of American Girl. And I love doing covers for crowds that have never seen us play before because I just think makes it more of a conversation. Like you might not be able to sing along to any of these other songs, but like you can sing along to this one. I go to concerts and I want to sing. And I'll never forget this one man that was like having such an emotional response to hearing American Girl, and that second verse that like cuts me to my very core. It was cutting him too. And I was like, yeah, this is what it's all about.
Also, it is just so smart to throw in a cover. Like you said, it's inviting to people that may have not heard you before. That's really smart.
Yeah, and we did it in our own way. It sounded more like Someday from the Strokes. And probably the original, we punked it out a little bit too. So yeah, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, congrats. That's such a big deal. Like that's really, really special.
Yeah, I definitely the whole weekend was like, guys, like this may be the only thing we do. Like nothing is guaranteed. We are here. Like we just soak it up. Cause yeah, that's Flava Flav over there. This is crazy.
Were there any acts that you got to catch throughout the weekend that really just blew you away, or you were just like, wow, that's like a band I'm more of a fan now than I was beforehand?
Yeah. My not corny answer is Remy Wolf. That was amazing. She sounded incredible. There were like these stressful tech problems, like the mic wasn't working, and she just like fully rolled with it in such a way that I was like, that is a consummate professional. And when the mic was on, sounded incredible, and was like such a perfect festival vibe. If they're ever on a festival that you go to, that's exactly what you want to be hearing outside on a nice day.
Yeah.
And then my corny answer is Sublime. It turns out I think I like Sublime. It's either that or I like drinking tequila out of a water bottle with my friends at Sublime, but I think they were actually really good.
Was this Sublime with Rome, or was this Sublime with Bradley's son?
Yes, with the sun.
That's really cool.
It was so cute. And so I think that I talked to a couple other people that can relate to this. I didn't know how much I liked Fall Out Boy. Like, I haven't listened to Fall Out Boy since I was a teenager, really. Like, I fell off of albums and stuff. And so that whole weekend, I'm talking a big game of like, oh, we can leave after Avril Lavigne. Yeah, I don't really care about Fall Out Boy very much. And then I'm in the crowd, and every song I'm like, wait, this is really important to me.
It's so funny you say that. I was never a big Fall Out Boy fan growing up, and then recently, like literally like 2 months ago, I listened to From Under the Cork Tree, and I was like, oh, this rocks. Like every song rocked.
Yeah, I can't say that they're underrated because people rate them very highly. But
Yeah.
I just, yeah, they haven't been on my radar, and yeah, it turns out that was like a really special thing to get to see.
Just a few more questions. I know one of the things you said earlier was, best case scenario, somebody picks you up, signs you, scoops you off to tour for, I know you said over in Europe, but let's say maybe you can make it down in the southeast of my neck of the woods. I know your dream tour would be maybe the Killers and the Strokes, but if you could tour more realistically with a few bands.
Oh, come on. Boo. What's more realistic than me opening for the Killers? Name one thing. I've been making everybody aggressively manifest this. So I'm going to continue to put it out there as being very realistic.
I take back what I said.
Something else that would also be realistic and cool would be like Charlie Bliss, I think would be like a very dreamy bill, or Beach Bunny. We get comparisons to both of them a lot, and I think that would be really cool. Yes, I would love to tour the South. We're talking right now about doing an extended week with our friends in the Dreaded Laramie, who we did a weekend with last month, and they're from Nashville, and they're just like another amazing brand of power pop that's like they're so incredible live. They went more Weezer, where I went more indie rock, but that's okay. So yeah, I would love to be able to head down to Austin and kind of go south that way.
Nice. Yeah, that would be great. That'd be awesome. I'll have to check them out too. I've been writing down every band you've mentioned so far. One of my last questions, I always like to ask my guest of if I were to visit the area that they're in, if I were to come, what is like the one meal or restaurant or whatever it is that I would have to get before I leave?
Okay, you would, if it's a beautiful summer day, you have to go. I feel like this is divisive. You have to go to. You could go to a nice beach. I would say go to Hampton Beach just to really soak it all in. It's kind of yucky, but it's also something that you have to experience at least once. And you have to get tiki drinks at Bernie's. You have to get a fried dough and then just like go up the coast to Rye and get a beautiful lobster roll somewhere.
Mm, that does make sense.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful trashy beach day.
So, with the last few minutes or so left, what would you like to shill so nicely to the audience?
Dear audience, if any of you have a connection to Brandon Flowers, please let him know that that we make awesome music. We should open for him on a big tour. No, I would love for y'all to listen to the music that we have out in the world, to stream our songs 100 million times, and learn all the words and come to the shows and sing the words with me.
And also bring Brandon Flowers if you can.
If you happen to have a way to connect with him through email, send it my way. I have some songs I think he'd really enjoy.
We're not just manifesting the Brandon Flowers tour, but also a little feature spot too.
It wouldn't be that far-fetched. He's featured Waze Blood, Katie Lang, Jenny Lewis from Rilo Kiley, which I also always forget to say how important Rilo Kiley is to my music, and I think that LP2 will be more on the Rilo Kiley early rocky Death Cab lane. But yeah, I'm ready whenever he is. Lou
Awesome.
Reed, he featured Lou Reed. Why not me?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better.
I think my campaign on this, the slogan is going to be, why not me?
I don't think we'll have a good reason.
I love how unhinged that became.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. You're an amazing guest.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Hello. How's everybody doing? I just want to pop in and big thank you to Megan for stopping by. They are super cool and so talented and funny, and I really just had a blast talking to them. It's so funny to hear the Megan like gush over the Killers and Brandon Flowers. It kind of reminded me of just what this whole kind of thing is about, why I do this. I really do it because I love music so much, and there's so many bands and artists that I like gush over, like, the Grateful Dead. It's I don't know, it just reminded me that like art really is like one of the most beautiful and pure and connective parts of humanity. And I really just love that I get to do this. I feel so fortunate that anybody is willing to talk to me, and this has just been such a positive thing for me. And I am like honored that other people are willing to share their art with me, and just take part in this community, even in a tiny way. So if you've made it this far, thank you. Go listen to Megan from work. Again, Megan was so awesome and so fun. I love talking to them. And yeah, I think that's it. If you have made it this far and this is your first time, who should I interview next? And if you are an artist in a band, whatever, reach out. Follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty active on there. And yeah, like, subscribe, etc. But I think that's about it. And all right.